Shadow of War. Is it Worthabuy? Let's read the words of the developer. Experience an epic open world brought to life by the award-winning Nemesis system. Forge a new ring of power, conquer fortresses in massive battles, and dominate Mordor with your personal orc army in Middle-earth, Shadow of War. Guys, before we go into this, I am obliged to say that Warner Brothers provided me with the gold edition worth £80 for the purpose of this review. It's not going to save them long. Shadow of Mordor I actually quite liked, and I think it was because it was the first open world kind of Lord of the Rings game. Well, open world-ish, if you know what I mean. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and there's just been a lack of good Lord of the Rings game, and that one was probably the best, other than the Battle of Middle-earth RTS one, which is still my favourite. So I had high hopes for this until I saw the first trailer, and then I predicted that all it would be a complete spam fest of a game, and it is a complete spam fest of a game. The combat is just Batman. It's just, I'll tell you how bad the combat is in this game. I was surrounded by no less than 30 orcs, and all I did was spam the left mouse button and I killed every one of them. It's even worse now. I have an ability which, when you block, instead of just parrying, it insta-kills anybody who attacks me. So if you attack the front, you die by the press of the left mouse button. If you attack the back, you die by the press of the right mouse button. So my left and right mouse buttons are insta-kills to any orcs, pretty much. It's sad, but yeah, 2017 gaming. Anyway, let's have a look at the graphics. The graphics I thought looked great. No problems at all with the graphics. Running it on Ultra, it ran absolutely great. No problems at all on my 1070. It just ate it all up very nicely. No complaints at all. But I'll tell you what, the sound is the best. The sound is phenomenal in this game. The orcs, the voiceovers for the cutscenes are amazing, guys. Not only the graphics in them, but the sound in them as well. You know, I mean, the sound of this game is just awesome. The accents of the orcs are spot on from the film. In fact, the orcs is hilarious. I've had loads of laugh out loud moments. Each orc has their own kind of personality. Well, the captains, warlords, and overlords do anyway.
You serve the bright lord now.
Bright Lord, Dark Lord, same thing really.
And you kind of interact with them a lot in the game because you can run into them randomly, you can get ambushed by them, and you recognise the names because you spend a good few hours on each zone in the world. There's 5 zones, and so you kind of run into them. One of them I'd killed and he'd come back to life, and he actually killed me, and he gloated over me and made me hate him, and I hunted him down and I kicked his fucking arse, guys. The game does that to you. It gets personal. It gets very personal. There's this one guy, I haven't got the video footage, but he was like a bard, and if he kills you, he sings a song about how he killed you. It is funny, and it gets you annoyed at times. It gets you annoyed, but the combat doesn't get you anywhere near as annoyed as traversing the actual map. I don't think I've been as annoyed in a game for a long time as I was in this. Forget Assassin's Creed, it's much worse. You are glue man when you run around, and if even a hair of your arm just brushes a wall as you run past, you will be on top of that wall before you can say, "Get the f*** down, I'm trying to catch that over there." It's horrific, and then trying to get down gets you further up the wall, because you have to press a separate button to actually get down. And while we're talking about the bindings for buttons, guys, this makes the awful mistake of not allowing you to bind individual buttons to different powers. You will rebind a key and it'll say, "Oh, yeah, are you sure you want to unbind that? Because if you unbind that, that is now going to unbind this. 10 fucking powers bound to one fucking key." Which is why, guys, it is clunky as fuck on a mouse and keyboard. If you get surrounded by orcs, I've got this ability on X because of the way I use TGFH, and that's my little finger, which is sprint. It's also run up a fucking wall. It's also vault over some fucker's face, and many other things is X, but it's all down to proximity from different things. So when you get in middle ground, the game doesn't know what you want to do. What do you want to do? Do you want to jump over his face? Do you want to sprint? Are you trying to climb that? What are you trying to do here? And all the time you're getting your face pummeled by Olaf the fucking Hairy, who's got this huge fucking club. And you're just like, I think I've nearly broke the button. spamming the fucking button trying to get your guy to jump, and then all of a sudden the computer will go, all right, you wanted to jump out the way. Well, why didn't you just say that? And then you'll jump out the way. It's all right if you're in a one-on-one, but whenever you're kind of surrounded, it's just fucked. And it's awful. It's just awful, guys. It kind of defeats the purpose of the map as well, because you might have an objective at the far side of this base, and instead of having to run around the streets fighting your way there, you can just leap there. Whatever you just run in a straight line. It doesn't matter what you'll come to. You'll just run over the fucking top of it, you know. And well, to be honest, you can just run through everybody anyway, and then just hide in a bush. So it's kind of it's very simple. It's very simplistic. This it's a huge grind as well. And the problem is, I don't mind grinds. I mean, I'm a Warcraft player, you know, well, ex-Warcraft player. I don't mind a grind. I like a good grind. If there's something you go and do, that reward for grind is always equal to the reward. If the reward is great, then the grind is good. I don't mind a grind. I grinded 2 days just for the fucking enchant of the Crusader enchant, killing the Scarlet fuckers in this little tiny tower. It was mind-numbingly boring. But when I got that enchant, and then I started selling it for fucking thousands of gold on the AH, all these enchants, you know, it was worth it. I was like, oh, it was well worth it, because the grind was boring, but the reward was epic. Truly epic. The problem in this is, the reward is nothing. It's nothing. It's like, oh, your reward is, yes, you took the fort. Yeah, well done. Now there's another zone over there with another fort. Go and do the same again. What the same again? Yeah, exactly the same. See, guys, there's 5 zones, and the first zone's like a tutorial, but after that, the other zones have fortresses that you have to take over. They're ran by overlords, and they have loads of orc captains and a couple of warlords, and you have to build an army to take that. That's what the whole game's about. And you do that by killing his captains, recruiting some of them for your own army to build yours up, and then attacking the fortress. And you do that exactly the same over and over again, 4 times. I've been playing this game for 23.7 hours, and I've just took the second one. And it was pretty boring to do. I mean, it wasn't massively boring. I had some epic battles. You know when you're watching Lord of the Rings and you see Legolas running around killing everything, and you bringing his bow out and firing 3 arrows off and killing. You are Legolas pretty much, even though you're an actual cross between a ring wraith and a ranger. You know, but you are kind of Legolas. And yeah, you can do all that, which is good. And I don't have a problem with that, because you should be able to do that because you can do it in the movies. So the combat is dumbed down, but that's fair enough. But the captain fights are quite harder, because the captains aren't just, you know, trash mobs. The captains have abilities, but they have vulnerabilities as well. And you have to find out what they are by going up to an orc who has a green kind of icon above his head. He's a snitcher, a grass. And you grab him and you will say, hey mate, tell me his vulnerabilities. And he'll grass on any orc that you tell him to. And he'll do, but only one. And he'll give you all the vulnerabilities. So you might be told, oh, this orc over here is vulnerable to fire, this captain's vulnerable to fire, poison, stealth, hates beasts, but he's good with a bow and arrow. He might be arrow proof as well. And so you have to work out a strategy to beat him, and it's not hard. You know, if they're vulnerable to fire, you just burn them. If they're vulnerable to stealth, you just sneak up and stab them. So the fights aren't exactly complex. I've only died 3 times in 23.7 hours, and that was all in the first 5 hours, I would say, when I didn't really know what I was doing. Since then, I've been fine. And now I've got a legendary bodyguard that comes with us, and I just need to press a button and my bodyguard will appear, and he'll kick the shit out of anything that I ask him to, you know. So I'm pretty safe now running around. So it's kind of boring, and all I'm doing is finding the vulnerabilities of all the captains, beating them down till they submit, then I'll recruit them to my side. Once I'm full and I've got a good army, then I just start killing his, and then I attack the fortress, which is just basically a big opening cinematic as your army charges into their army, and then you break down the gates, you run over, and there's a couple of points you have to capture and hold, which is pretty much exactly the same as what you've been doing for the rest of the game, just attacking orcs. And that's the game, guys. That's the game, because when you've took that citadel, yeah, it's yours, you've conquered that kingdom, you then move on to the next kingdom and you start again from the beginning, recruiting new guys, killing his guys, building an army, and then assaulting
the Citadel, and then when you've done that and you've took that zone, you do it the other time. So you have to do that 4 times. There's also a story going on at the same time, which is utterly boring. It's set between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. But the main protagonist, this guy who's a ranger stroke ringwraith, is boring. He's just utterly boring. He's trying to be Aragorn and he's just not. And it's just, the characters are piss poor. There's Smeagol's in it and he's good. Smeagol is hilarious. I liked Smeagol. But the story is just kind of a sideshow. It really is. The whole game focuses... In fact, the stars of this game are the Orcs. They are just hilarious. The different Orcs, they'll pop up at the times you don't expect them. There's like ambushes. You'll be doing a mission, then all of a sudden, you're just about to kill somebody, and then this guy pops up and goes, well, 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 if it ain't Mackie, baby, remember me, you And it's like, oh my goodness, not you, you know? And it's like somebody that you've ran into earlier, you know, and he's a bit stronger now and he's coming to kick your ass. And then you have to have a fight with him and another captain. And so you might have to retreat a little bit, call in a few reinforcements. And you can have some really epic battles. And then you're taking out archers at the top. And another good thing, I've got the ring now that I've leveled up. And I can now recruit people to come onto my side. So if I'm getting overwhelmed, I just quickly run over to someone and just convert them to my side. And you have truly great battles at times, but that's all the game is. It's that over and over and over and over and over again. And after the first 10 hours or so of this, it's kind of like, well, is that it then? Is that the game? Is anything else? And it's like, no, there's not. That's it. That's it, guys. There is nothing else. There's nothing more to see. That's it. And so it kind of begs the big question, what is the point? I mean, yeah, there was these fight pits that I unlocked, which was interesting because I could then put my orcs into the pit and have them fight enemy orcs, and if they beat them, they got leveled up to my level and became stronger. And you don't actually take part in that, you just kind of watch it like a spectator for sport. That was fun, watching the orcs and cheering them on, like, go on, kill them. And then you get a bit of a sense of satisfaction when your orc wins, but it's not enough. And so the big grind, the only thing that's there is the story. But the story's shit. It's the story, who cares? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if Sauron bums everybody in the game. I don't give a fuck. I really don't care. The story is so bland and boring with totally forgettable characters. There's nothing, there's no allure. It's just, hey, do you want to do the same thing you've done for the last 10 hours again? No. Okay, bye then. I'm not bothered about finishing it at all. The fact that it might be the different endings might be hidden behind a paywall is you know, irrelevant to me. I just don't give a fuck about the story, and that's the problem with the game. There's nothing really there to grind for. It's just doing the same over and over again. And you know, let's talk about the loot crates. I did cover it in another video, but I was given the gold edition, which had some armor, and it had these epic and legendary followers, which you just assign to your army after Act 2, and you can use them as your bodyguards, level them up, which I did, and I have one of them as my bodyguard. But guys, I never ever needed loot crates. In fact, I've got thousands of silver that I can buy in-game loot crates for. I don't bother. I get that many legendaries and epics of just killing captains and warlords that I don't really need it. The loot crates are totally pointless. Why would and I don't get my head around anybody who would even buy a loot crate, because what you're doing with a loot crate is you are paying money to miss out on the game that you've paid for. It's just a cash grab, that's all it is. This game doesn't need them. They shouldn't be there. It's just money grabbing, cash grab. And I'm so happy that on Steam there's only 1,707 reviews at this point. Yes, it'll probably go a bit higher, but by now this game should have been easily into the thousands. It should have been into the thousands of reviews, but a lot of people have boycotted this game because of the loot crates. And well done to use that, because I tell you what, once you start buying into this shit, all the other companies start doing it as well, and it becomes massive. And games are getting dumber and dumber and dumber, and we've got to stop it, and you've got to make a stand. So there you go, guys. There's a bit more to it than that, but honestly, it's not really worth the money. It really isn't. It's not bad, but it's not brilliant, and it's certainly not Game of the Year. It has some truly great combat scenes. It has some really brilliant orc characters that you fight and join up with or kill. And yes, you're going to have fun if you buy this game, but word of warning, a big word of warning, it is just grindy, rinse and repeat for hours and hours and hours. And for that reason, guys, it is not worth a buy. Grab it in a sale if you must. Guys, if you are going to buy this game, you know, that's fair enough. I mean, it's not a bad game, it's just not a great game. You can get it on Green Man Gaming, it's cheaper than it is on Steam, and if you click the link in the description, you'll be supporting my channel as well, and the key you'll get off Green Man Gaming is a Steam key, so enjoy.